It's that time again as Iron Country brings you the Fishing Hole. Keep up to date with the latest products and learn fishing tactics from some of the best anglers across North America.
Let's give him a warm welcome this morning to the Fishing Hole. 2014 National Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame inductee Dale Stroshine. And this week's guest, we are going to introduce to you Larry Smith from Larry Smith Outdoors. We bring you another fantastic guest this week. It's legendary Al Linder on the Fishing Hole.
And my pleasure to be here, Jeff. Looking forward to it.
Here's your host, Hurricane Jerry.
Good morning, Hurricane Jerry with you this morning here on the Fishing Hole on Iron Country 1019 and 1490. You can stream anywhere, Iron Country at ironcountry.fm, or even download the free TuneIn radio app from your Google Play Store, and you can listen from your mobile device, or even visit our Big Radio website at bigradio.fm, and you can also stream from there. It is the final show of 2019, and looking forward to 2020, and it's the beginning of the ice fishing season, and looking forward to it too, of course. And today's show is brought to you by Harbor Recreation, Southern Wisconsin's boating headquarters on Lake Koshkonong. You can check them out at harborrec.com. It's been a while since we have had our next guest on the show this morning, and we got to bring him back, and we've got Clam and Vexilar Pro staffer Tod Todd is with us this morning here in the Fishing Hole. And Todd, you're on your way up to Mille Lacs doing a little ice fishing. And again, thanks for coming on, and welcome to the Fishing Hole.
Yeah, good morning, Jerry. Got an early start this morning, heading up to Mille Lacs. I'm pretty honored. There was a local veterans group that has taken out a group of 6 veterans, and they asked me to assist in guiding out of McCoy's up there by Isle Bay in the southeast corner.
Okay.
So just a little bit I can do to give back to our veterans that gave so much for us.
Exactly. And, that's a great thing, what you're doing. And, these guys, you're going to put them on some walleyes on Mille Lacs?
Yes. Right now, we're going to be targeting walleye. We'll see how that goes, and if not, we can slip into Isle Bay. Down in the bay, there's 9 foot of weeds when you get down in there, and there's an abundance of panfish, and there's also predators and walleyes in there.
Okay.
Your big pike and muskie, but predominantly this is just going to be a walleye trip.
Yeah, I've had one of the guides up there on my show before a while back, and he's saying the panfish, they're not abundant of them, but when you do get them, there's some good size fish in there.
Oh, there's some really giants in there. Depending on the weed growth from year to year and the wind because of the sandy soil, when underwater camera is a really good search tool to get you on a good school of panfish. They're in there. They just get displaced.
Right. So, you're from Northern Illinois, and let's talk a little bit about, we haven't had too many guests on the show that talk about the Fox chain down there in Northern Illinois, and that's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Beloit and Janesville. And, that's, we were talking a few weeks back, I've got to get my Illinois fishing license because there's some great fishing in Illinois. I want to get down to the LaSalle, Peru area and do some fishing on the Illinois River. And there's some good lakes in northeastern Illinois. And let's talk a little bit about the Fox chain down there and just talk about the fishery in general. If someone that's never fished there and want to cross the border here in the state line and head on down there, I know some of our Illinois listeners have fished it. Tell us a little bit about the fishery there.
Well, the reason it's such a good fishery is because it's fed by the Fox River coming out of Wisconsin.
Oh, that's right. It is.
Yeah.
You guys get any cheese icebergs coming down there this time of the year?
Oh.
Any brats?
We're not going to touch that one.
Okay. All right.
So the Fox River chain system is very unique. It consists of 45 miles, and it has actually 15 different lakes. Most people know like Fox Lake or Channel, but there's Spring, Petite, Catherine, Marie within the chain, and they could be like Fox Lake isn't one of necessarily your better lakes to fish on overall. It's shallow and muddy. But, you start at the top of the chain from the Wisconsin border, you have Channel Lake. And there's approximately 40-foot depths within Channel Lake. So within the diversity of this whole system, you can find just about any species that swims in Illinois within this system. I've personally seen a 29.5-inch walleye, 17-inch crappie. I mean, there's
wow.
magnum fish in this. There's huge muskies over 50 inches. Chris Terrazano, a good friend of mine,
yep.
and owns T-Bone Guide Service.
Yep.
I mean, he's constantly putting giant muskies in the boat. So it's a very healthy fishery with huge diversity. Whether you want to be slip bobbering for panfish in the channels or casting, 1-pound baits for muskies.
Yeah, I've got to definitely get down there and fish that in northern Illinois. I've heard so many good things about it. Yeah, you're talking about Chris. I talked to him a few years back, I think, at the Rockford Boat and Vacation Fishing Show, and he was saying, yeah, there's some dandy muskies in there.
Yeah, and it just, whether it's white bass, yellow bass. Last year we were up on the north end of Channel Lakes because we had a pretty good walleye bite. Well, the walleye got pushed out. Well, the catfish, and I tell you, we had a ball spending a half a day just jigging catfish through the ice.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That's something that's kind of unheard of, or just maybe wasn't practiced in preceding years. But you can actually be successful targeting catfish through the ice.
Yeah, Todd, do you ever target walleye ice fishing there? I know you're big in the panfish. You ever target the walleyes down there?
Well, yes, that's what we were targeting.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's what we were targeting. And there's not many people through the ice that target walleye on the chain. I'm not sure why. There's a few good productive areas, like on Marie out by the sandbar, where those walleyes come in to feed in early in the morning, and sometimes as shallow as 3 foot of water.
Okay, I got you there, yeah. Heck yeah. What about the pan fishing? Let's talk a little tactics and maybe some of the clam tackle that you use for the panfish down there, and maybe you can give a tip or two, maybe in a little maybe a Todd secret, maybe for them to maybe hook up and catch some of the panfish and the bluegills and the crappies and the perch and stuff like that.
With me, there is no secrets. I'm an open book. I'm willing to tell and show anybody out on the lake or anybody that's willing to listen. Sometimes people that aren't even willing to listen. For me, I use a drop tick jig by Clam. I like the rocking motion that it has and a flat surface on the top, so you get a good return signal from your fish finder.
Mm-hmm.
And I pretty much predominantly fish plastics. I fish a white Mackie. Anytime you see me, you look at my tackle box, it's a white Mackie. I don't really deviate. I can go a whole season and not even buy baits.
Yeah, I believe that.
Because with the plastics today, like there's many plastics, Joe Moreau, Mackie plastics that are out there, you can change size, shape, and color. I mean, if you have maggots or waxies, you're limited to just that. So if I want something that looks like a freshwater shrimp or a bloodworm,
yep,
I could just reach in there, pull it out. Yeah, and try it.
Yeah, you kind of want to match the forage or match whatever, some underwater bug or something. Yeah, that's definitely, Clam, they've got a huge selection of plastics too, and I've actually got a few of those in my arsenal also.
Yeah, they're the magic behind the plastics is Scott Brower from Mackie Plastics, and I've known Mackie for over 10 years, and he started out just making plastics out of New York, kind of before Facebook, well before Facebook, and he was just an obscure internet guy. So unless you were on a fishing forum, you would have never even heard of him. It was just like Joe Moreau in the Chicagoland area. And anybody knows Joe, a lot of history behind that man that's well into his 80s, but almost 40 years ago, when he started making plastics, he had an 8-inch purple Herman that he would cut with the razor blade, and that's how it all started with Joe until he had a mold made and started making his plastic tails about 40 years ago.
Wow. That's amazing.
And so this isn't nothing new. A lot of stuff just gets reinvented, but there's a few people out there like Dave Gens and Joe Moreau and that are true pioneers that you can, kind of like Henry Ford, there's only one first.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I've got to ask you, okay, for your setups and stuff, for especially panfish, I know Clam, if it got an awesome variety of rods and reels and stuff, and, talking a few weeks ago to you, I just picked up the Dave Gens, the Legacy, got the, I want to say one of the 28-inch light. What's that?
Does it have the wind? Does it have the wind grip?
Yes.
The blue handle?
Yes, yeah. It does. Yeah, and
phenomenal rod.
Yeah, and I can't wait to use that thing too. So, yeah, it's I was out fishing the other day and I was like, I forgot I even bought it. It's like I had it. And it's like, I was kicking myself. So it's like, yeah, I wanted to get out and use it, but no, I can't wait to use it. And tell us a little bit about what you use too.
Matter of fact, I got one sitting on the dash right now, and actually this here is a 28-inch medium light Legacy series, spooled with 2-pound test. Pretty much almost any fishing rod that I have for ice fishing is spooled with 2, maybe 3 pound test. All the Clam products and even other products, today's drag system, even on a relatively inexpensive reel, is phenomenal. So, you got a graphite or a fiberglass rod. You use that to absorb the energy. You let the rod in the drag system work. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to have 4, 6, or heavy pound tests, especially when you're fishing a 3, 4, even a 5 millimeter jig. You're going to lose contact with the jig. You're not going to get the proper cadence or even feel the bite when it's a light bite. As far as rod length, that's a personal preference. Also, if you're fishing in a house, a flip-over shack,
yep.
you don't want a long rod that's going to rub up front, or when you set the hook, you're burying it in the ceiling of a shack with a low roof.
Yes, you're right. You're exactly right. And when you got the hubs too, you've got plenty of room in there, and just let her rip. Then, yeah, that's one thing. In the hole hopping too and stuff. It's personal preference or what type of ice fishing that you're actually doing when it comes to setting that hook.
Yeah, because, so many people, especially with social media today, they basically give their opinion as fact, and that's the best. Well, this isn't a one-size-fits-all type system. Whether it's the species, the lure, the person's ability or height, their pocketbook. I mean, that one thing nice about Clam, they make a lot of wonderful rods right off the shelf, custom quality, at a reasonable price.
Yes. Yep.
And I kind of, I shouldn't say chuckle, but I do when I see people paying $100 or more for a reel, and you're fishing for a 7-inch bluegill in 10 feet, 20 feet of water, dropping a little jig.
Yeah, yep. And then Clam's got, probably half the price of that, and just as good as a quality of a rod that's $100 or even more yet. Oh,
you can get a whole combo for $50, $60.
Yes.
Jason Mitchell meat sticks. And one thing that we as fishermen at Clam, and we listen to the people, but also we're thinking, if you look at the spool diameter, basically most ice reels out there, they're basically a 100 or a 500 series open water reel. Now, we have oversized the spool, so now you need less line and you have less chance of coiling because you have a bigger diameter. So you look at some of